Hi everybody and welcome back to my next blog. I've got a lovely friend of mine called Angelita Woosnam. I've known Angelita for a few years now and I find her a very empowering woman. She's influenced me and she influences a lot of other people and she does a lot of good in the local community. So I've brought you on, Angelita. Say hello.
Hello.
And introduce yourself so you tell people what you do and what you're about.
Okay, so I'm Angelita Woosnam. I'm based in Runcorn at the moment. My other name is the Wellbeing Lady because I run wellbeing events. I've been running wellbeing days in Warrington and now just started in Widnes for 10 years. And I'm also a therapist, so I work with groups and individuals. And I've also more recently, which I realised is one of my passions, is working with primary school children. Delivering relaxation sessions for children either with additional needs and or stressed, anxious children. So yeah, there's probably some other things I do as well, but I can't bring
lots of different therapies as well, don't you? You do like Reiki.
I do Reiki.
What other treatments is it that you do? You do Reiki, you do other ones as well, don't you?
I do. Well, I started off as a physical therapist, so massage, reflexology, Indian head massage, so all the touch therapies, because I think touch is really, really important. Then did Reiki, which is an energy healing technique. And I also now use quite a lot EFT, which is a tapping therapy, so emotional freedom technique it's called, and some other uses of EFT, so we do some other work as well with that. I have also just done more recently studied some shamanic work, which basically is just another tradition, another way that other people work. They probably look at what we do and say we're shamanic, so it's just whatever. So some energy practices that come from the Andes in Peru, so working with energy ways there, which has been fascinating for me because it's simple and I like simple.
We all like simple.
We love simple. Well, for me, if it's not simple, I won't do it. You know, or I'll do a bit and then I'll go, oh, did I get that right? Did I do that twice? Should have done it 3 times? Yeah. And these are just, they are the practices of they're called the Cairo people. The practices of the Cairo people who live in the high Andes. Forget how many thousand feet it is above sea level. And they've never forgotten their connection to nature. They've never forgotten that we are all connected to nature. That, you know, we can go out and talk to a tree if you want. You can go out and talk to flowers. You know, I talk to all my plants. People think I'm crazy. I don't know.
Well, people say it makes plants grow quicker, doesn't it? Really? When you talk to them. There's got to be something in it.
Definitely.
Now, you come across as quite, I would call you empowered because you know who you are, you know what you want to do, you know your purpose, and you're making a difference. When was it, would you say, that you first felt empowered? Was it a person that made you feel that way, or a situation, or what was the turnaround point for you?
So the turnaround point for me, one of the first people, and I loved your questions, who actually inspired me, I think was my mum, who had a very hard life. She came in the 50s as part of what is now being called the Windrush generation. So she came from the Caribbean, she came from Jamaica. And yeah, her relationship, I'm not going to go into it at all, but you know, my parents' relationship wasn't great. My mum brought us all up. We all survived, which is always a triumph. Yeah. And we're relatively balanced people. So I always look to her and think, if she could survive what she went through, so can I.
Super strong woman.
Absolutely. Unbelievably strong woman. Unbelievably strong. You know, just really, I'm not saying she didn't struggle inside, but she's of a generation who didn't talk about things. She would, you know, mention therapists to her and she'd think you've told her that she's gone mad, and she would just have none of it. When I started to do what I did, she's like, you're telling people about that stuff, you know, it wasn't in their makeup. So what really made me feel empowered? I think it was probably for me when my children became teenagers and I realised how much I'd achieved. Yeah. Because I split up with their dad, gosh, a long time ago now. So my daughter was probably 12-ish. So I'm talking about more than 30 years ago. So they were still quite young, really.
Right.
And then I met somebody else and got married again, but they were still, you know, my children really, because they weren't his children. And it's when I realised, and one day, and it was one of those things that I sort of looked at them and went, oh my goodness, they're grown and they're actually quite nice people. They're okay.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's good.
They don't have
good
too
job.
yeah, well done. So yeah, I think that was one of the things that really made me think, yeah, do you know what? You've done all right. It's been hard, and there have been times when I thought, I don't know if I can do this, but I obviously have. And now when I look at them all, I just think, oh my goodness, wow. And interestingly, you asked that question. A friend, when did she come here for Christmas? It was probably about 3 years ago now. And I've known this lady on and off. She's a friend of my children's dad. And because, you know, all the grandchildren, we're speaking now and we're being civil and all the rest of it. We were never uncivil, but we didn't maintain a relationship. But, you know, he came up to see grandchildren and things, and he was here at Christmas. And this lovely, lovely lady said to me, she went, well done. And I thought she meant the Christmas dinner, because, you know, and I said, oh, it's just me. I said, you know, it's a joint event. My daughter helped me. My daughter-in-law helped me. And she went, no, my son and my daughter were there. And the other one, obviously, is in Australia. And I went, oh. And she said, no, she said, you've done, excuse me, a bloody good job.
Oh, brilliant.
And I went, I was almost speechless. I really went, oh, thank you. And she went, no, seriously, you did. She went, and without any help from him, which is true. And I was a bit, oh. And it was after she, absolutely. And after she left, I thought, do you know what? I did.
And it's not that you were seeking that validation. You just never noticed it because you're so busy going forwards. And I think that's something that people don't do. They don't stop and look at what they've just achieved. No. Do they? It's about going forward. I think I'm a bit guilty of that, to be honest with you. But when I do, I find it overwhelming.
Yeah, it can. Well, that completely just went that day. And after everybody had left, I mean, my daughter and my grandson were still here with me, and I sat down. I was like, wow. I'd never, because we see it from our perspective. Yeah. You know, you'll see it from yours. I saw it from mine. But she was looking at it from somebody, you know, not in our family, not involved in all that stuff, or, you know, whatever. And I hadn't even seen her for about 10 years. So it was really, really interesting.
So do you think you got that strength for your children from growing up with your mum and seeing the strength that she had?
Absolutely.
So do you think that's how it's impacted your life?
Definitely, it's empowered me, because that's where we learn from. Yeah. You know, and I say I've got my daughters living with me at the moment, and I see her, and as well as, you know, being a therapist, I study behaviours, I study, you know, psychology and all kinds of things. And I look at her and go, I wonder where you got that pattern and that behaviour from. I wonder why you do that. Yeah. Because she's very like me, and I'm very like my mum, who probably was very like her mum. So it is an inherited quality. So I'm very, very grateful.
That's good. So what would you say drives you day to day? What gets you out of bed and go, today is going to be a good day? Is there something that you have that you do, or you say, or you know your purpose, or a drive for what is it that gets you out of bed each day?
What gets me out of bed each day? The drive to help, I think. And that isn't from I hope it doesn't come across as an egotistical thing, but I've spent probably the best part of 20 years as a therapist, as I said, you know, starting off with massage and the usual suspects, we call them. And then for my own personal development, for my own growth, learning other things and going, oh, that looks interesting. So for me, you know, the mind-body connection, the fact that what we think affects how we are and what we do and all of that stuff. And I really, really believe that if somebody like me can learn that and do that, everybody can. There's nobody who can't, you know, take something away from that and go, actually, oh, why do I keep getting headaches when I see that person? What is that about? You know, we can all take responsibility for our own well-being. We can all do something to help ourselves, even if it's just drinking more water. You know, that's one of the things I bang on about for people, and they're like, oh, for God's sake, here she comes again. But, you know, we all need, me included, need to drink more water. We need to make better choices. There's all kinds of things. And it's a lot of it is awareness and education. If you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know better, you can't do better.
Yeah. I mean, something's just dawned on me, something's just clicked this second when you were talking then. You said that the thing that gets you out of bed is empowering and being able to help. Every single person I've interviewed who I see as empowering has said the same thing. But, you know, we're in a community that's quite selfish at times, and everybody feels weak and lost and everything. But maybe if everybody just decided to stop and help someone and help each other, then everybody would feel empowered. Because I swear, honestly, everybody I've had on this interview, people who I think are empowering, they've all said they get out of bed to help make a difference.
Help somebody else.
Now, that's obviously allowing all of us to feel empowered to do that, because it's exactly the same with me.
I know.
And you know, this is I've got goosebumps saying this now. But this is why I think selfish communities and selfish people stay selfish, because they never find that thing they're looking for. They never find that self-awareness of what makes them tick, so to speak, because they're too busy. It's all about me, all about me. But as soon as you step out and put it about someone else, that empowers you. It's strange, isn't it?
And again, going back to the Andean tradition that I was talking about, that I'm working with, one of their foundational teachings is what they call, their word is Aini, which means sacred reciprocity. So as I give you something, I receive. As I, in the giving, I receive as well. And that's, for me, that's really, really powerful. And it's interesting about this giving and being fed by it, almost being helped and nurtured and nourished by it. Before we started this, I was saying I've been listening to lots of podcasts over the last couple of days on my walk. And one I was listening to, and somebody mentioned, I think he called it the parable of the long spoons, which I'd never heard it called that. And interestingly, I clicked onto Facebook this morning, and there's a little like a cartoony diagram of it, and these people are eating and they've got these ridiculously long spoons. They're not short of food, but their spoons are too long, so they turn their spoons around and they can't feed themselves. So basically they're starving because their spoons they can't feed themselves with their spoons. But then somebody works out that actually, if I feed you, you can feed me, and we can feed that person with these long spoons. And I just went, whoa, I was walking along, I had to stop walking. I was like, oh my goodness, I must remember that, because it's so powerful. It's such a powerful picture of, if I help you and fill you up, you can help me, or you can go and help somebody else. And then they'll go, wow, that was good. I might try that. I'll go and do something else. So for me, that's what it's about. You know, the Wellbeing Days I run is about making alternative therapies, different things that, you know, you can't find everywhere, available to anybody and everybody who wants to come along. And they might not like everything. Some people don't like everything. Some people can't stand having their feet touched, and they go berserk if you suggest that they have reflexology. Like, no. But, you know, they'll come for a massage, or they'll have Reiki, or they'll, you know, come for something else. And it's just a nice place to come. It's very
calming as well, I find. And all your treatments are like so cheap. You would never get that in a salon ever. No. And they're proper therapists as well, aren't they?
Proper therapists. I always say, you know, we do have the best. And it's interesting for me, and it's that law of attraction thing, that, you know, we attract therapists who, if they could, and we've had these discussions amongst ourselves, if we could do it and afford to do it for nothing, we would. But, you know, we've all got bills to pay, we've all got, you know, stuff to do, but they're all passionate about what they do. They love what they do.
So what is the why to why you do these wellbeing events?
The wellbeing events started because I was invited to one as a therapist, now probably about 15 years ago. And I remember going along, and it had just started, and it was really quiet, and we drank a lot of tea and ate a lot of cake while we were waiting for people to come. But when it got going, and we were just busy all day, some days we didn't have lunch. And again, it was just once a month. And I remember one day walking in and looking around and seeing everybody was set up, all the stalls were there, all the therapists were there, and I just went, oh my goodness, everywhere needs one of these. Every community, every town, every city needs a place where people can just come, try something, bring whatever they bring with them, whether it's pain, whether it's anxiety, stress, you know, confusion. We get everything. We get the lot. People who just go, I don't feel well, I don't know why, I don't, you know, just come.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can leave it and they go home most of the time feeling better than they did when they came.
Definitely.
The price is as it is because I wanted and still want to make it accessible to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've still got your hall hire and everything like that to pay for.
We've still got our hall hire.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that. You know, we're still living that world where we do have to pay for things.
Yeah.
But I know that, you know, the therapists that will work with me, even though your treatment is only 30 minutes and you might, you know, squidge that a bit so you get 20-25 minutes on the bed or longer if you have 2 sessions together, I do get a bit antsy, and I have to sort of take a breath and calm myself down when people say, oh, you know, we do taster treatments, and I say, no, they're not taster treatments.
No.
They're just short treatments.
Yeah.
They're just short treatments, and you will get whatever you need in that 20 minutes, 40 minutes.
Definitely.
Because
you wouldn't have had it in the first place, would you?
No, you wouldn't. And, you know, I've been doing it, say, at the Warrington event for 10 years, and we've got ladies, 2 sisters I can think of, who have been coming for 10 years.
Wow.
One lady has only missed a few when she's been on holiday. The other lady, we did move to a venue that she didn't like, so she didn't come. Well, it was, and to be fair to her as well, she has difficulty walking, and it wasn't as close to the bus as she could get to. Right. And her sister wouldn't go and get her. I went, that's me. So she didn't come for a while, but now we're at the old school in Warrington. You know, she's there every month.
That's excellent.
And she said, oh, I wouldn't miss it because it's, you know, we've got another lady who comes for the whole morning.
Wow.
She books her session with Sarah. She's on the sheet before it comes off the printer for 2 hours. Seriously, she's just there, and she comes and she said that's what keeps her going.
Oh, so, wow.
You know, and it's these people I'm really feeling for at this time.
And they're your why, aren't they?
They're my why.
Yeah.
You know, who just come and they go out and you just go, oh, that was lovely. And I think, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've made a difference.
Made a difference to people. And at the beginning, I'd say, it was mostly ladies, mostly older ladies who were coming, but now we've got people coming literally right across the board. We do have men who venture in, and a lot of younger people as well who are realising that, you know, their well-being is their responsibility, that they can do something about it. It's not just, you know, oh, I'll ask somebody or I'll go and get something else, you know, from whatever. Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's my why.
Well, you're quite spiritual in a lot of different ways. What would you say has been or would be your favourite life quote that you've ever come across? What's your favourite one?
I read that and I thought of a few. And the one that keeps coming back into my head, it isn't particularly spiritual at all. It's from the Marigold Hotel films. I can never say that properly.
Yeah.
And it says, it'll be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end. And that is one of my favourite. I don't know why. I just love it. I love it. I don't know where it came from. I don't think it was written for the film because I've seen it somewhere else. But I just like it. It's like, it will be all right. It is all right. Yeah. You know, if we think that everything's okay, it might be a bit bumpy and a bit rocky, but it's okay. Because once we start thinking, oh my God, this is dreadful, it feels dreadful. We feel dreadful. Everything goes dreadful. So I really like that one. It's like, if it's not all right, we haven't finished yet. We're still on the way, wherever that is.
I love it. So if you were to come across somebody who just wasn't feeling it today, wasn't feeling empowered at all, was really struggling, what message would you have for them?
A bit like what we said at the beginning, to be honest. Just take a breath and just look back. Look at yourself a year ago. Look at yourself 6 months ago, 10 years ago, and acknowledge what you've come through. Because I know your ladies have had a particular journey.
Yeah.
What have you come through? How have you survived? You have survived because you're still here.
Yeah.
What support have you got around you? And if necessary, you know, call on that support. But primarily, pat yourself on the back because you're still here. And that in today's society, you know, with all its ups and downs and fears and foibles and everything else, that's a massive achievement to actually still be here.
I think it's really important to look back as well because we've all been through tough times and come out the other side of it. I mean, I remember thinking when I was I was finishing secondary school, And they were all talking about college and university, and I honestly didn't think I was clever enough to even go to college, to be honest. I know, I look back now, and now I've got a degree and I'm running my own charity. It's like,
Absolutely.
whoa, where did that girl come from, you know?
She was there all
You have to look back
time.
and see what you've achieved in life, even if, like you say, it's bringing up some children well. Good, polite children, you know. It's like, wow, not many people can do that.
Well, no, they can't, sadly. They can't. And, you know, I work, as I say, I work with primary school children. I've done some work with another community group in Bolton who did a project for young mums, empowering young mums, basically. And one of the things that one of them said, I can't remember, you know, oh, I haven't really done anything. And I said, how many kids have you got? And she had 2. And I went, are they still alive? And she went, what do you mean? And I went, where are they? She went, in school. I went, well done. And she was, you know, still didn't get it. And I said, you've got those kids to this point, however old they are, and most of them are single mums.
I
said, you know, you've got them up this morning, they've had the breakfast, they're dressed, they've gone to school, they're at school, and then they'll come home. I said, that's an achievement. It's a massive achievement. Yeah, but I haven't done the housework and I haven't done this. And I went, don't worry about it. Seriously. And what? Exactly. And then what? Wait, and? I said, the housework will still be there tomorrow. You know, it'll all be there. I said, your kids need you. And, you know, they're still there. And as you said before, that is an achievement. It's a massive achievement. So,
not life and death, is it? It's getting the washing done.
No, it isn't. It isn't. And where I am, we've got demolition work going on across the road for the part of the old bridge. The old bridge. So everything in here is covered in a thicker film of dust than it ever was before. I know. And I went mad one day and dust. And then the next day it was all back again. And I was like, do you know what? I'll wait till I finish.
Yeah.
As long as I don't get it me dinner, I'm fine. It's like, no, it's fine.
Drive you mental otherwise.
Crazy. And it's because it's like cement dust or concrete dust. It's horrible. So anyway, so it'll be gone.
Just keep your windows closed.
Well, that's with windows and doors closed.
Oh my goodness.
Not good. So yeah, definitely more gratitude, more patting yourself on the back.
Wonderful.
And just look at it.
Do you know what? That's brilliant advice. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to everyone, Angelita.
Thank you for asking me. Thank you.
You've got such a calming voice as well. I love it. I could just fall asleep. Not that you're boring, but I could just fall asleep listening to you. So calming. Oh no, I appreciate that.
No, and I appreciate everything you do too. You do an amazing job.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
give everybody
in person and give you a big hug.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's give everybody a wave goodbye. Bye everyone. Thanks very much. Thank you.